never forget to laugh. And Karen has her hand up. Hey, Karen, go ahead, my friend.
Hi, Lynn. I just want to say I love that song you just played. And,
Never
not
forget to
letting the
laugh.
dark,
And uh, go ahead. I'm
Mhm.
sorry.
I'm sorry. That's okay. I just didn't know if you heard me or not.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry. What did you say then?
No, I didn't say anything. That was the YouTube coming on.
Oh,
It does that if I don't
I
stop it real quick.
okay. I love that song you played. And, don't let the darkness cover any part of your mind. We bring that to every situation, and we recognize that every illusion is the same. A shadow is a shadow is a shadow. There is no hierarchy, and it starts within my own mind. And I'm doing that right now, as a matter of fact, because I'm healing all the dark thoughts I have around my surgery, all the dark thoughts around everything the doctor told me of all the risks that could occur, and healing and healing and healing and saying, no, I am perfect. I am perfect. That things are going to be, they are perfect. They're not going to be, they are perfect. And my body is healing perfectly and going to heal perfectly, and not let those dark thoughts enter my mind. I say other things too, but I'm not going to go into details. And that is for us to, as the Course tells us, when we accept the atonement for ourselves, we see it everywhere. That light shines on everything, and we see it all as the same. So this is a beautiful, beautiful idea to just, strengthen. As you said, don't let any darkness enter your mind, and we put it into all of our situations. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And yeah, that the darkness that comes up uh, is based on my opinion of what I think should be happening. And Regis is here saying I'm safe. So, and again, the line that I love the most about that song, it is not what you're here for. We're here to be the salvation of the world. With very clear instructions on how to do it. And none of it has to do with anything in the body, in the world itself. It's not a self-repairing thing. It is something that only can be repaired by the mind that made it. And the mind that made it, you know, it's like, you started a rumor and then you heard it from someone else and you believed it was true, even though you were the one who came up with the idea in the first place. You hear it from another voice and it seems like it really is what's happening. None of this is really happening. And so I'm going to play the Remember You're Dreaming again. I think maybe we want to look at, we are here to read Never Forget to Laugh, the biography of Bill Thetford by Carol Howe, and we will get to that. But first, Remember You're Dreaming, and then next, we are we're going to look at our lesson for today, because today, this is the lesson. This is the lesson for us today. That is just the perfect lesson. It couldn't be more perfect. It's like it was planned long ago before the invention of time and space. So here we go with our beautiful song. Share the sound, share, share. Here we go.
Take a deep breath, sit down, my child. Why are your thoughts running so wild? Don't you know who walks beside you? Yeah. Don't you know that only love is true? Remember you're dreaming. Oh, remember you're dreaming. Yeah. Remember you're dreaming. Oh, remember you're dreaming. Yeah. Oh, wake up, wake up. You gotta wake up, wake up. Remember you're dreaming. Oh, remember you're dreaming. Remember you're dreaming.
remember not to forget to laugh, to worry about the future nor the past. But don't you know who walks beside you?
Beside you.
Don't you know that only love is true? Remember you were born to fit all, and when you started to fall, you had intention. And did I mention that this tension is only a dream? Life is not all that it seems. There's magic dancing in between endless dimensions. I pick you up when you fall, I remember to call, but what did you go darling? You left the stall till I catch up, but we'll patch up the cracks. Don't worry about the future, the past. This moment is all that you have. I know you'll remember.
You're dreaming.
Oh,
remember you're dreaming.
Yeah, I know you remember.
You're dreaming. Oh, remember you're dreaming. Yeah. Oh, wake up, wake up. You gotta wake up, wake up. Remember you're dreaming. Remember you're dreaming.
Remember you're dreaming.
Oh, remember you're dreaming. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing real can be threatened.
Yeah.
Love is all that there is. Remember you're dreaming. Oh, remember you're dreaming.
Remember you're dreaming.
Oh, remember you're dreaming. Oh, wake up, wake up. You gotta wake up, wake up. Remember you're dreaming. Remember you're dreaming. Remember you're dreaming. Yeah. Remember you're dreaming.
Remember you're dreaming.
Remember you're dreaming. Yeah. Life is but a dream. It ain't nothing what it seems. Remember you're dreaming. Remember you're dreaming. Remember you're dreaming.
That was great.
I love that song. And Mike Love, he was just here in Colorado. He did a concert over in Durango, over by where my son lives. So what an adorable guy, huh? Oh my gosh. So welcome everyone. We're here for Lynn and Sharon. We're going to be reading Never Forget to Laugh.
Regis is here. Oh, hi, Regis.
Yeah, Regis is here, Yehu, and Karen and Sharon, and yeah, Regis says, I'm safe. Yep, I'm safe. So today's lesson, hey, says the same thing, right? Lesson 310. Anybody want to read it? Let's see. I gotta put my participant list up. So
We can read it later. I'm just getting myself together, and then
okay, I'll read it now.
I can try it.
Oh, good.
Oh, yes,
Thank you,
Regis, your voice is so great. I love Lynn's too. My voice is a little like fast and.
Read it, baby.
All
Yeah,
right.
read it, honey.
Lesson 310. In fearlessness and love I spend today. This day, my Father, would I spend with you as I have chosen all my days should be. And what I will experience is not of time at all. The joy that comes to me is not of days nor hours, for it comes from heaven to your Son. This day will be your sweet reminder to remember you, your gracious calling to your Holy Son, the sign your grace has come to me, and that it is your will I be set free. We spend this day together, you and I, and all the world joins with us in our song of thankfulness and joy to Him who gave salvation to us and who set us free. We are restored to peace and holiness. There is no room in us for fear today, for we have welcomed love into our hearts.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Regis.
What a perfect election day prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And
We have welcomed love into our hearts. You know, it's as I'm reading, I'm also thinking how we still very passive. We can slip into passivity so easily with our thoughts and with our with responsibility. Love just don't come on us. Happy feelings just don't come on us. It's an action on our part to welcome it, to receive it, to remember it. You know, in my birthday lesson 235, I need but remember. It's just constantly saying, if I only remember. If I look upon anything that seems to hurt me, I only need to remember God will so that I be saved from this. I only need to remember God's will for me is happiness, for happiness to come. And, salvation is here, and we really have to wake up and receive it every day. We really have to wake up and choose heaven every day. Heaven just don't fall on us. It just don't reach out and grab us, and say, come here, but we have to accept it, and as this thing reads, for it comes from heaven to your son. This day will be your sweet reminder to remember your gracious calling to your holy son, the sign your grace has come to me, and that it is your will I be set free today. So every day brings about a new set of circumstances, whether it's stubbing my toe on the corner of the bed, or whether it's the 4-year primary election, or, whether it's a flat tire. It's like, what am I going to allow today to cause me to forget that heaven is here right now, happiness is here right now, I'm safe right now? And it's just, it doesn't matter whether it's a big, huge election that's threatening us in some type of way, or just that we got to notice that our internet company is going to shut off our internet for a few hours. It's like, what's going to be the thing today that causes me to forget? It doesn't change my status. I'm still God's beloved son in whom he's well pleased. But what's going to cause me to forget that and go into a place of fear and panic or upset?
yeah, exactly. Thank you, Regis. And it is a choice. And believe it or not, it's a choice that we set up in the first place.
Yeah.
It's like, you ever go bowling, and they set up the pins and they're set up in a certain way. And you roll the ball.
Yeah.
And sometimes it goes in the gutter, and sometimes it hits one and knocks them all down. And then the next time they set them up, you go right back and knock them down again, or try to. That's what's happening here.
Yeah, and we set up, just because we set an alarm clock doesn't mean it doesn't startle us. It makes us upset when it goes off 8 or 12 hours later. And we talk about that in Festive Friday. We set all of these little mini clocks, these mini alarms, and we forget, wait a minute, I set this for a purpose. And for a small moment, we may get angry, we may get fearful, we may be startled. But like you said, when we realize we set it all up. And now, why did we set it up? We set it up to help us remember, not to panic us, not to make us jump out of bed and run into the wall and hurt ourselves. But we set it up to assist us, to aid us, to help us to wake up But sometimes we forget that, and just like a alarm clock in our bedroom can startle us and cause us to feel fear and anger or whatever, these clocks, these alarms that we've set off, I thought about, without a Donald Trump, would we even be considering a woman for president? Would Hillary came very close to beating him even then, but without a Donald Trump, where would we be in consciousness about women?
Oh gosh.
Where would we really be? We would just be kind of lackadaisical, sleeping alone. Everything is okay. You know, without these things, they really come to wake up consciousness to take us to a higher level, But there is some resistance. There is some pain to the alarms. There are some pains. We forget that we said it. It startles us. It shakes us. Cause like even beside my bed, I've said this for years. I just have a very soft, and I had to go find it. I didn't like the alarm clocks. They were too harsh. They made me. I didn't want to wake up shaking and quivering. I just wanted to become aware that, hey, it's time to get out of bed and go to work. So I had to search for a softer, peaceful type of alarm system because and sometimes the clocks that we've set in this body, in this life, we forget that we've set them and they start going off. And our first response is resistance. It's fear, it's panic. It's like, what is this?
I'm just imagining Reed just hopping out of bed and running around and running into the wall, and I'm just over here laughing because you're right. We set it up, and that's the question that we have to ask ourselves today. Are we going to spend the day in fearlessness and love? Or are we going to be saying, whoop, I better set that alarm clock again because tomorrow morning I won't wake up? Come on now. Let us just remember that, there's nothing to fear here.
Yeah.
And we've set it up. Why? Because we want to wake up.
Right.
Why would we set an alarm unless we want to wake up? So if we're already awake, why do we want the alarm to go off again? Turn that dang thing off. Well, that's what Sandy does that. Sandy,
Yeah.
she has the alarms on for everything because she's ADHD and
She get distracted easy.
yeah, and so she has alarms that every night at a certain time an alarm goes off and she looks at it and it says order new glasses.
Right.
She never orders the new glasses, but she keeps alarming every day about it. But
Right. I keep in my phone right now as I speak, I have 2 alarms that goes off multiple times a week. I got it kind of stagnated now. Used to be more frequent, but the alarm goes off. One of them says, see the light in others and treat them as if it is all you see. And another one that goes off says, what people say and do is more about them than it is about me. And so, because this life, I realize I'm having this human experience, and all the activities of a given day, whatever they are, they can lure you into being a victim. They can lure you into thinking, I'm just out here and anything could happen at any time. And you can be fearful, you can take offense. I think I have those 2 important to me because to help me remember that not to take offense. Not offense is just really low level fear. Everything is just a byproduct of fear. But in my defenselessness, my safety lies. So, what people say and do is not about me. See the light in others and treat them as if it is all you see, because things pop up in our awareness. Politicians, people talking and texting and driving, all kind of stuff pops up. for us to take personal and to really just be in fear. Because when we see the person texting and driving, it's we get angry. If we get angry, why am I angry? Well, because they could hurt somebody, and the person they could hurt could be me. It's just like, so it's just that alarm that we set, to remind us of the truth of who we are. And we can forget so easily, and that's not a sin. That's, as you hear me talk, you don't hear any shame. You don't hear me apologizing, and I shouldn't be that way. And but it's just a realization. It's an acceptance that the human mind forgets, and the thing it forgets the most is that I am God, and God is with me everywhere I go. And so, whatever we can do, to remember that my trust is not in my bank account. My safety doesn't lie in my bank account. My safety doesn't lie in my ability to get a job. My safety doesn't lie in whether or not my feet work or not, or whether my arms work or not. My safety doesn't lie in my own mental intellect that I've attained over years of studying and listening and doing all the things I do to raise my human intelligence. But my safety lies in the fact that I am the beloved child of God, in whom He is well pleased. And all these other things that I've done over the years I've been on the planet, that is not where my safety lies. It doesn't lie in my contacts, in my relationships that I keep with people. My safety lies in that we are the beloved children of God, in whom He is well pleased. And this lesson is saying for us and reminding us to welcome heaven. It is here, right here, right now. It is being offered as it is every single day. Thanks.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Regis. Absolutely perfect, perfect, perfect. And, as you were speaking, you reminded me of something when you started talking about, it's in my mind, my own mind. You know, I just was listening to a podcast or something yesterday. I don't even remember. I watched and listened to so many things all day long. I mean, you do too, I'm sure. But they were saying that there are people who their brains are actually wired more towards awakening because they have more like neuroplasticity in the fact that the brain can actually change because that's part of this is something that I learned from the oneness movement and doing the oneness blessing is what the oneness blessing actually does. And I don't talk about it here because I don't think a lot of people are into it or would be interested in knowing about it that much. But what the oneness blessing does is it declutches the mind from the brain. So when you receive this blessing, what it's doing is actually um, changing, shifting your brain. Because your brain, they used to think that the brain couldn't change because, once you reach a certain age, it's set, that's it. But no, they have discovered and it's real clear that, we have our brains are much more plastic than what they can change much more than what was first believed. And so this is why all of us, everyone who comes in this room, you just now, as you were sharing, reminded me of that the open-mindedness that we are given when we develop trust in our source and trust in our own being, our own holy selves. That open-mindedness allows that shift to happen in the actual physical brain, which makes it much easier then to comprehend the things that we read, to hear the truth, to make a conscious decision to listen only for the love in every situation. And believe me, that is for me the key to all of it is listening only for the love, looking only for the love. And so in fearlessness and love, I spend today that the only way that I'm able actually to do this is that I have opened my mind to shift, to change, and to be more compliant. Because this is what we're doing. We're humbling the ego and making it more compliant. And a compliant, humble ego is helpful to us. I mean, Jesus tells us, if I'm not saying you don't believe it, but, but it is absolutely, if I could spell correctly, I can't see my keyboard, that's why. I got a lighted keyboard, but the lights are behind. There we go. Humble ego. Let's see. The meek shall inherit the earth because their egos are humble, and this gives them truer perception. This is in chapter 4, section 1. And in he says the fact that you must escape from the ego shows this, but you cannot escape from the ego by humbling it or controlling it or punishing it. And how do we escape from the ego? Uh, by allowing it to be shifted, allowing it to be changed through our seeking true perception. So anyway, I don't know why that all came to me, but here we are. Finally,
It's a good point. Tracy and I was talking to someone a week ago, and we was talking about, it's because you started with the brain and the actual physicality of the brain and the brain activity, and what we were looking at was what has been studied by some and believed, and I told Tracy I definitely believe it. The left brain is the task-oriented side of the brain. Getting things done, putting on your pants, going to work, whatever it is. It's the task-oriented side of the brain that just gives us this functionality that we have. But the right side of the brain is considered to be the emotions, and even the side of the brain that really communicates and connect with God. And so we become, in the human experience, very left brain, task oriented. Experiences, how we was raised, traumatic experiences that causes us to shut down emotionally, causes that inactivity in the right side of the brain. Now, it's not like it was said earlier this week that you were referring to with Regina homily. There's been studies now that show that there are just some people are predisposed to be more right-brained, to have more activity, or just the way that they was raised, the activities, the conversations, like prayer, meditation. All of these things don't move God. I always say prayer doesn't move God, it moves you. So through meditation and studying and other spiritual practices, we begin to create more activity on that side of the brain. But that side of the brain can also be activated by physical activity, just walking. I think about Regina. She walks. She goes out with that dog, and they in the mountains. They walking. They moving. So there are other ways like MDR, tapping. All of those things are tools that help stimulate and wake up this right brain activity. They don't do anything with God. What it does, it wakes us up to the presence and the voice that's always here and always has been here. Sometimes we forget that these activities, we forget like what comes first, the chicken or the egg, or don't put the cart before the horse. We still kind of slip into a mindset that thinks that it's actually getting God's attention and moving God closer to us. But it's really what all of these various activities is doing is waking us up. God is here. God is always here. He would never leave us nor forsake us. But are we aware of it? Are we aware of it? Are we aware of it? And are we welcoming it? We have to be aware of it, and then once we're aware of it, we have to welcome it. We don't trust it, and that's why Dove teaches us trust will sell everything. We don't trust. We like, oh, I know it, but we don't trust it. What we trust is the left side of the brain. We trust what I can do, what I can get done, how I can manipulate, how I can juggle money, how I can get money from other people, make money by working. We trust the task-oriented side of the brain, and the more attention we give to the right side, it's just like an exercise muscle. Tracy was asking me about hearing God, and it's just like you can't go to the gym and work out one day, and all of a sudden you go back home and you can lift 40 or 50 pounds with ease. It's going to take some time building that muscle, and it's that same with that right side of the brain. We do these activities not as magic tricks. We practice not for magic tricks, not to say, oh, I'm going to do this magic trick, I'm going to do this practice, and it's going to fix my situation or it's going to fix the world. But we're really just stimulating the brain to where it has more of a continuous awareness of the presence of God. We start out on the other side of the spectrum where we notice God every now and then, but we grow into a place where God is with me everywhere I go, and we notice it, we live in it, and we rarely get outside of that. So we shift the norm. So the more we practice, the more we awaken this part of us, we begin to notice a shift in our life where we don't get afraid very often. We don't get angry very often. We don't get depressed very often. We're always in the place of God, which is happy, which is peace. So that our life begins to flip to where we're more on the right side of the brain than we are on the task-oriented. Everything needs to be done. I need to do it. The only way things get done unless I do it myself. We start to get out of that brain and into the God brain. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. And it's so funny, Regis, because that's what I've attributed. In my life, I had several accidents, which you are all very well aware of, a lot of them. And the first one was when I was a kid. I was hit by a car, and I broke my left leg, and my whole left side was pretty well incapacitated because I was in a cast up to my hip for like 6 months, and then up to my knee for another 3 months after that. And so my left side was incapacitated, and I think it made me more active on my right brain, which up until that time I was, kind of, really, hippy dippy. But after that happened, I started being able to concentrate. I went to school, I got degrees, I got jobs, I did all this stuff, all this, left brain activity came into my life. And then I lost my right eye, destroyed my right knee. It fell and broke my right shoulder. The losing of the right eye, I think, is the main thing that happened, because that cut off that whole part, because the right eye is run by the left brain,
Right.
and the left eye is run by the right brain. That's that's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're wired backwards that way. So that's why I'm saying, it's the opposite. So I lost all this stuff on my right side, and it really cut off a lot of the information that was going to my left brain.
Yeah.
And I developed, we call it ADHD. I started having, difficulty, just following through on things, remembering things, etc. You wouldn't know it right now because, obviously that doesn't seem to be the case with me. But that's because right now I'm operating under divine order. So it's
Right.
that's a whole different story. It has nothing to do with me at all.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned about the accident because that reminded me of the other piece of this left brain, right brain conversation that we were having. Because one of the studies came out of a person realizing they had a stroke. Typically, people have a stroke on the right side of their brain. But this person had a stroke on the left side of the brain, which was task oriented, in that get it done side of the brain. So by them having the stroke on that side of the left side, they discovered how peaceful and tranquil that they became because that was is said to be the God side, the emotion side, the right side that communicates with God. So they discovered that they was just blissful, you know, after
yeah,
having that stroke on the left side. So they even had to that person had to even work extra hard to like kind of come out of that blissful side so that they could actually start getting things done in the body world because you go over to that side, you don't want to come back.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
I
it's so peaceful, and all the stuff that everybody else is getting upset about, and time, I got to get this done, I got to get that done. You kind of just like floating along, watching it all.
Exactly. And are you talking about Jill Bolte Taylor, that a neuroscientist that had the stroke?
I
Because
think
that's
it
what
may
happened to
be. I
her.
think it
Yeah.
was a scientist. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened to her. And yeah, she was in that huge blissful place. And but she had, even when she was having a stroke, there's the other part of it was like, you got to call help, you got to get help. She
Mm-hmm.
couldn't read, she couldn't do the numbers on the phone. She had to look at the number on her business card and look at the number on the phone and look at the number on her business card and look at the number on the phone. She had to go back and forth until she actually was able to dial the number. And the guy at work answered the phone and knew it was her. And she said she was talking like a golden retriever, whoa, 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 because she couldn't speak because she lost language. So that all that stuff that processes on that side of the brain was cut off from her, and she was only on the side of the brain where she was in that more direct connection with spirit. And yeah, it's really amazing to listen to her story. I have the audiobook and some other things on her. But yes, I know we're way far from our but not really, from what we're here to read about this book, because these same things basically happened to Bill Thetford when he was a child, and he had that illness, and he was put in, he had to stay in bed, and he couldn't, go out and, play with other kids, etc. And all he did was read books and stuff. That altered his brain. That altered his brain and gave him a different point of view than what other people had.
Yeah.
And Sharon has her hand up. Sharon, please go ahead.
No, I think what you're doing is the same because we're together joining and talking about, you know, having Regis, Karen, and you here and Doug. It's so supportive just because we are course students and we want to stay in the present moment. So whether we do Bill's work, read his book or not, I don't care as long as we just join. And I loved having Regis on today. I love it.
Me too. I love it. So, well, let's take a look at our book then and see, how does this all tie in? Okay, we have about 10 minutes left here, which is fine because then coming up with, we're going to be looking at chapter 15 in A Course in Miracles after this. And so it seems like a perfect flow. So do you want to read, Sharon? Or do you want me to read? You just read a bunch of stuff. I'll read.
I can read, Lynn, if you
Okay.
want. And
All right.
I'll read it and then I'll give it. Where are we though?
Okay. We're this paragraph, I regarded Bill as my mentor.
Okay. I regarded Bill as my mentor, as did almost everyone who knew him, and we served as therapists for one another. We were very respectful of one another's capabilities and shared a close connection as colleagues. I, too, remember the importance of our long walks as we shared our worlds, at once so different and yet so similar. We compared notes about my mother, also named Helen, who at the time was retreating into Alzheimer's disease, and about his Helen. He said he had tried for many years to make her happy, to do or be whatever she wanted, and it was simply not possible. As simple as this sounds, it was a significant breakthrough for him to realize it was not his job to make Helen happy, and he advised me accordingly. Her happiness had been his appointed responsibility. One she also assumed was his. He used to say that it seemed Helen would never be happy, for she found very little in life even to be acceptable. Hmm. It took years for him to grow more accepting of his relationship with Helen as he released his sense of failure and need for approval. Although he recognized it was pointless to continue trying, he didn't find peace with that relationship until near the end of his life. Yet Bill was no different from the rest of us. In my experience, most people learn that being okay, being worthy, having a right to be here is measured by others' approval. Now, I can stop here and say that the conditioned Sharon was always a people pleaser. That's pretty much how I was as a child. I just wanted my parents to stop fighting and I wanted them to be happy. So I would do things just to take them out of their drama. And, being a people pleaser is all part of the ego thought system. It doesn't make anybody special. Sometimes it's just a need to be accepted, right? And as sensitive as I was, and if you're into the arts, you are bright minded. That's just the way it is, because you can't really do the right. You can't really, like, usually that's what I learned in college, whether it's true or not. Left would be, I have very serious ADHD, so I really have a left brain. It's a little challenged, but it works. It works. You know what it works for? It works for by passion. If I feel passionate, I feel that I can get anything done because our energy is that of God, right? So, in my experience, most people learn that being okay, being worthy, having a right to be here is measured by others' approval. Now, God already gave us everything we need. We don't have to do anything the rest of our lives, and He already established us as whole and perfect and loved. So to fall back into a trap of the ego is silly at this point. Of course, I will still, and I'll say that's silly, Sharon. Why would you want to believe a mind that really doesn't even know what you are or whether it even likes you? Because the truth is, it hates everybody outside of it, right? But that's always me. In my experience, most people learn that being okay, being worthy, and having a right to be is measured by others' approval. Unlearning that lie is essential and often a lifelong venture. She's right on that. He felt disappointed and betrayed because his vision of practicing the course with Helen and having a wonderful friendship didn't happen. He also felt some resentment that she had gotten him into. Okay, next. I think that Carol's brilliant. Several times what we could do for him, we provided water. Oh no, here it is. Situation. It was not fulfilling her part of the bargain. Whatever he perceived that to be, at the same time he was compassionate with her, aware of her difficulties when she was overtaken by phobias and compulsions. And I only have gratitude for Helen. Her behavior was just coming from the righteous ego, and that's how it acts. Also, during the last years of her life, after Bill and Scutchess had moved to California, she grew ill with pancreatic cancer. Many who knew her well said she became quite deranged. She was definitely not the Helen everyone had known in her prime. Once when Bill was in Denver, we were in the front yard watching the children when a lovely dog, a handsome Irish setter, limped into the yard. His paws were raw and bleeding as if he had had a very long, hard run in concrete. He came straight toward us as if on purpose, clear about his destination, then nearly collapsed. Bill had a very tender heart, was concerned about the dog, as were we all. Aw, as were we all. Now, where did I go? Wait a minute. Where am I? Okay. All right. Several times we could do, okay, it says, and asked several times if we could do for him. We provided water, food, and a safe place to rest until the owner, whose number was on the collar, returned our call that evening. The dog was friendly, was very friendly, and despite his recent experience, seemed content to sit with us for several hours until his owner arrived to collect him. Later, the owner told us the dog had been stolen from his backyard and carried off for some unknown reason. Just imagine, when I look at dogs that are suffering, I feel the same for them as I do for any, from an ego perspective, right? From an ego perspective, there's a lot of dogs that are mistreated. But any animal, whether it be human or anything, causes the ego in me to feel that. And what's happened for me is to keep going back within and saying, they're not even there. These are just my thoughts, and I've got to watch my thoughts. So, and this has taken years for me. It seemed purposeful that Bill had this unanticipated encounter with the dog. The episode might seem trivial, but it was important to Bill. By his own account, he had been under tremendous strain, self-imposed though it may have been at Columbia, especially during the scribing years. He had spoken of the struggle that seemed the hallmark. Are we going to, okay, the hallmark of his life. Our outer life is a seamless whole with the inner, and both Bill and the dog, after long, difficult journeys, were on the final leg of returning home. A lesson from ACIM comments on our suffering when we leave home. In other words, when we refuse to accept the truth about ourselves. He seems, and now I'm going to read from what he seems a very sorry figure. I read that this morning, then, right? Yeah. Weary, warm, his threadbare clothing, and with feet that bleed, a little rock from the rocky road he walks. No one but has identified with him, for everyone who comes here has pursued the path he follows, and has felt defeat and hopelessness as he is feeling them. Yet, is he really tragic when you see that he is following the way he chose? And need but realize who walks with him and opens up his treasures to be free. What a beautiful way to end.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let me look where the reference to this is, number 19. Um, let's see,
It's just a
lesson
beautiful, beautiful.
166.
I mean, when you think about Helen, she really gave us she gave humanity a huge gift.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm so grateful for her. And it's sad. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the share here, because we'll start again there next week. It's so sad for me, to know how she suffered. But of course, that was her choice. And that's what you just read from lesson 166. Um, we're doing it to ourselves, over and over and over and over again. We're doing it to ourselves.
So
Um,
she was resistant to practicing. Of course, she knew it was true, but she had challenges with it, as we all do.
well, yeah, as we all do. And yeah, she didn't want, there were things that she refused to forgive. And
Right.
that is the whole story. I mean, the
Mm.
story of my life, why we're here now, why we're living
Oh,
in
yeah.
a place of fear and darkness, because we choose, every day to to not forgive, to just you know, and how simple it is to do that. You know, it just is
Oh, yeah, absolutely
stubbornness on
simple.
my own part. You know,
Hmm.
all right. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this